done and hosed? Is that it? No more licenses, permits required?
Well, we're working through a mineral development agreement now with the Ugandan government as well, which will set the fiscal terms for the project.
What does that mean?
So potentially there's an option for the government to have a free carry or an interest up to 15%.
Why wouldn't they if it's free?
Well, everything's negotiable, and that's what the Ugandan government has spoken to us about. They want to build a mining industry. They want to attract international investment. Right. They want to be, raise the profile of Uganda being open for exploration and mining. I think there's a mechanism here where we can be partners in promoting Uganda through a fair mineral development agreement that makes sure that there's enough benefit for both groups moving forward.
Right. Okay. So we've talked technically in the past about what it is and how it works. You've obviously got to then build the facilities on site, and as a relatively nascent industry, say in Uganda, in terms of being able to access the capital, i.e. people looking to Uganda, is that an investable country? How are those conversations going?
I would say we've certainly spoken with a number of groups now who are becoming more comfortable with Uganda, more comfortable with Africa. So I think we're going to be in a position where I don't think financing this project is going to be an issue. Mm-hmm. It's more around mapping out where the product is going to go. Mm-hmm. Where that product is going to go is potentially going to open up other opportunities to fund Makuutu and also work on the supply chain.
Okay, you referenced it at the beginning, we talked about it at the beginning, and we've seen it ourselves. There's a big contingent from the US here. Rare earths is meaningfully part of the dialogue in terms of critical minerals at the moment. So are you sensing that you're looking to push product into the US because that's where the biggest pockets lie of capital? Right, or are we? Because you're in, is it Northern Ireland you're in for the magnet recycling?
Yep.
That's Northern Ireland, Belfast, right? Europe seems slightly behind the curve at the moment, or was that? Do you feel that's not the case in terms of capital?
I think publicly,
yeah,
maybe, but I think they did release a package last week. I think it was 390 odd billion euro, which. I think that Europe will come with a lot of activity through this year. Okay. We're in discussions with obviously the US and European groups on how we can help get our product into the market. But in order to get the product into the market, there has to be somebody who can process it. Yeah. And that's where these discussions are now at, is how do we separate and refine a Makuutu basket, because it's got a basket of elements there that there's not the refinery capacity existing today to be able to separate it in Europe or the US.
Right.
So we have to work with a partner on helping them build that capacity, and I think there's a big opportunity there for us.
Isn't it a harder path for you? Because the Chinese have got it all covered, right? Lights, heavies, done.
Yep.
Right, and the technical know-how how to do so, and it would seem like, well, let's just fit into the market. In fact, for some of our earlier conversations, said, well, that's probably the likely route. But Europe and US are now sort of clamouring for this stuff. Could that hold you back?
I think there's mechanisms there where we can work on the timeline that we're working to with groups in both the US or Europe to build that capacity.
Okay. The reason I ask is because we had conversations with bankers out of the US saying if there's any component that has a dependency on China, we're out. Okay? So you've got to make conscious decisions about where you go. So I'm saying one's an easy path, known path, and the other is slightly more complicated, but probably might be better for you in the long run.
And I think greater upside.
You're right.
And we've got a long life asset at Makuutu. We're not thinking short term. Yeah. This is long term upside. This is positioning ourselves to benefit from being a participant in those new traceable, secure supply chains into Western markets.
Okay. talk to me about Belfast. We just referenced it, Belfast. Is that still, where is that in terms of priority list? Because